So hello everybody and welcome. We are in the spotlight today with another ordinary recruitment leader, but somebody achieving the extraordinary results. So I am delighted to be joined today with Lucy Sinclair from TeamJobs. Lucy, hello there.
Hi, Katie. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much for being on, one of our brilliant program graduates who has made some incredible shifts, not just in her business performance, but also in her confidence and her leadership and even her personal life. So I know you're going to love her story today. So Lucy, let's dive in. So first of all, thank you so much for being here. And I'd love to start the beginning of your journey. So before we get into your journey on the Rocket program, would you mind just telling our listeners a little bit about you and your team and what you do?
Yeah, so I run the commercial team here at TeamJobs, and I previously had joined as a consultant and have slowly worked my way up the ladder and was promoted at the start of the year, hence why I'm on the program. We'll dive into that in a bit. And yeah, I've got a team under me. We have had some teething problems, but we've got a strong team now, thanks to the support of Rocket, and we are in a good place. I'm ready to set to go ahead and move forward. So yeah.
Brilliant. And that's absolute credit to yourself and to the team to get to that point. So let's start some 6 months ago. In fact, I think it's longer than that, maybe 6 months, 9 months ago, when you joined the program. First of all, what was your reason for joining the Rocket program?
I guess I was quite new to sort of a leadership role. And we were looking, when I sort of went to my CEO, he has also been on the journey. We decided that it was sort of going to best place me to structure the team, look at an underperforming team as well, because we weren't in the best place in the market, look at how we can grow their performance, and look at also structuring our division with a niche and how to grow and obviously earn GP.
Right. Yeah. Ultimately, everybody's desire. And it is a big leap, isn't it? When you move from, that billing role, as I've done, like you, started as a consultant, moved up the ladder.
It's a hard transition. It was a hard transition to carrying that GP on my shoulders to actually stepping away and letting go of my desk as well, which was really difficult.
Yeah. And that is the challenge, isn't it? It's getting that shift and that balance between billing and leading, but also when you're a billing manager and you have to continue that experience of billing, and then at the same time really leading from the front, but also getting more into the motivation and coaching of your team.
And I'd never coached before or sort of grown a team, so it was really new to me, and that is why we decided to obviously go down the Rocket road, and that's been, it set us up for a great sort of future.
Brilliant. So what wasn't working that was making your job harder than it needed to be?
We had 360 consultants in, which, as I know now, being on the journey, that isn't sort of where we needed to be. And looking at their talent dynamics, it wasn't best placing them either in their job roles. So that was something that we looked at. We were also underperforming, so GP was down, and there was no real sort of structure in the team. Right. The team was something that I had to grow from the ground up. So there was no real structure. And that was something that I needed the guidance and, the learning from that on with Rocket.
So carrying that burden, like you're saying, I know time and efficiency was one of those things, wasn't it?
Yeah, it really was. And it was like moving and transitioning from that role. It was really hard for me to understand where best to put my time. Yeah. With supporting and coaching the team while still billing and having that billing number on my head.
Yeah, absolutely. So you were effectively like almost acting as that safety net, isn't it? You're doing all the heavy lifting. So you're trying to lead, you're also trying to manage, which is very exhausting. Let's talk about how that changed. So since you've been on Rocket, what specific changes did you make in your leadership and also your team's approach?
We looked at the team performance, and like I said, going back to the 360 model, we have completely stripped that back. So we don't have that in the team now. We have delivery consultants. I do solely focus on the BD, so that is sort of my baby as such still, and that's where I'm best set in the team. But we have delivery consultants that are resourcing, following the candidate process. There's the account management piece in there as well. So whilst I'm taking on the jobs and building up that desk, The girls are then behind me and they are best set, and they've got all the processes in place now, thanks to Rocket, that have set them up with guidance, whether that being, onboarding jobs, how the candidate process works. The whole journey is now in place, rather than us all having a 360 selling, sourcing everything, when actually some people aren't salespeople. We didn't have that in place before, whereas now the team are a lot happier. One of my consultants was a 360 consultant, and looking at her talent dynamics, she actually wasn't a sales person, and it threw her off. And it really threw her off her journey and her track on how she was working. Now she's solely dealing with the candidate journey and she's thriving. So yeah, it's really helped us strip that back. And we were a 360 consultant business beforehand.
Yeah, interesting. So you move from, like you're saying, that kind of like where one person does everything, resource deliver, BD, into streamlining that process into people's strengths and areas of.
Yeah, and it's definitely made us a stronger team as well. We work better together now, whereas I think before it was very much working on your own. You do the whole thing from the, taking on the job to onboarding the candidate, to the whole interview process, and then, settling them into their role. We now all have an understanding of what each person does in the team, and we all have an understanding of where each job is. And it's just really brought us together as a team, and we're much stronger.
And what impact has that had on the efficiencies then, this new streamlined process? What changes have you seen or improvements in that?
We've obviously got a better candidate process, or straight away that changed on how we onboarded the candidate, and we put in processes in place on how we wanted them to be onboarded. We never had a pre-interview screening face to face, so that has now been something that we now do. So whether we do tend to like to get them in the office, but as we know, it doesn't happen every day, so we have done that on Teams. But we're now meeting our candidates and having a better control and working with them exclusively, so that we build that personal sort of, relationship with them, that we're not losing them to other agencies or other roles. We've got more control over it.
Interesting, because that is one of the things, isn't it? When you're trying to do everything, you're pushed and pulled between different activities and different tasks. And it means you can't always be as solid or have the same sort of efficiency and productivity in one particular area. And as we know, although we are in a market where, well, actually, it depends on your market. Some markets are job rich, some markets are job short, and the same for candidates. But actually getting control, which is what you're talking about, of candidates and of clients, and therefore you're working smarter, aren't you? You can work less rather than needing to do the high volume, because you know that your ROI on the time that you're spent on the roles that you're spending on is higher.
Yeah, definitely. And it's asking for exclusivity across the board, not just with our candidates on jobs as well. And that's something I never had the confidence to do before.
Right.
But now I won't actually sometimes take a job if they're working with multiple agencies. And I would never have done that before. I would have gone, oh yeah, of course, please the client, do everything I can. But actually, I'm not best placed by saying yes to a client who's going with multiple agencies, because I'm not then actually consulting, and I am a consult. We are consultants.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I often find that with our clients, they have a kind of like a key breakthrough moment in the program, which could be a system, or it could be a strategy, or it could be, something else. What had the biggest impact for you? What was yours?
Gold jobs.
Would you explain that a bit more? Like what
that
is?
I was very good at taking on a job, whether that's with a number of agencies. It was almost a tick box for me. It was, I'm going to take it on, and not even understanding it, not even seeing the client, just taking the job on, putting it out onto the job boards, and yes, carrying out that sourcing technique, but just hoping, sort of in a way, finger in the air, hoping for the best. And taking on jobs that, even when I knew they weren't fillable, still sort of trying to please that client by saying, yes, Mr. Client, I'll do everything I can. We're going to sell them the world, and I'll find you your golden nugget. When actually, now I look back at it, 50% of the roles we were taking on were, one, consuming our time and not putting our time into those roles that were even fillable. It was a waste of time, really. So now going out and having pride in what I do and being able to say no to a client who is, whether it's something that I'm not, ununderstanding of, it's not my niche, or two, they're flooding the market with 10 other agencies and just hoping that they're going to get a number of CVs and then hope something sticks. I'm able to say no. And by doing that, it's given us the opportunity to work on jobs that are fillable.
Great. And that comes back to in Gold Jobs, isn't it? It's about that job qualification, like you're saying, in control, and knowing which jobs are fillable, because very often we're sort of led more by the client, aren't we? When we don't have a system in place that defines quality, let's say over a role that isn't quality, we are then just led by the client's demands, if you like, or the client's needs.
There's no relationship building, is there either? You're just an order taker at the end of the day, and that's not who I am or who I want the team to be.
How did the team respond to the Gold Job system?
Well, we stripped our job book back, and I think when we did that, there was a lot of nerves within that, because it was like, we're not working on this, and everyone was like, well, what are we going to work on, Lucy? And I said, oh, well, don't worry, we've got this covered. We're going to go out to the market and we're going to have the Gold Job process in place with the Gold Job checklist that we put into place with my coach. And we now have those jobs that we are fillable. But there were definitely some nerves in there when we first did it. And because I stripped the job book right back. And when I looked at it, there was probably we had a job book of about 25 jobs on there at the point. And when I looked at it with my coach, Jane, actually less than 50% of them were fillable.
Right.
And it was a waste of time having them on there. And also I was, really the figures that were on there weren't actually real, because they weren't fillable roles.
So you did that audit, and you then, screened that right back, if you like, or like you're saying, you filtered that out and you were left with those that are gold. How did it help you around the business development process or strategy to go and get more jobs? Because for a lot of people listening, for example, it might sound like, well, that sounds a bit like crazy.
And I didn't think it through, Katie. When we did it, I was like, oh gosh. But now when we go out and take a job on, if we haven't got the client's buy-in, and the communication, and we set timescales now on how quickly we want them to come back on a CV. Without that commitment from a client, I'm not taking that job on now. And that's something, it needs to be a two-way relationship. There's no point in me putting my time and effort into something when the candidate's moving so quickly now, if they're going to take 2 weeks to come back to me on a CV. And that's one thing that, we really go out and we have a checklist in place. We want a face-to-face meeting. We want that buy-in from the client. I need their onboarding for me to be able to fill the role as well.
And that sounds like a sort of paradigm or mindset shift
massively. I still have to go back to that checklist, even though it's in my mind. Sometimes I still take it on every visit with me. Every client I see, I still take it, and I'm there ticking it off. And if they haven't scored more than 8 of the checklist, then we're not taking the job.
Yeah. Nice. And it's amazing what happens, isn't it, when you get clarity over that quality and where your time is spent and what actually gives you a return for your time versus I'm spending how many hours. Because when we think about how long it takes to take the job, to brief the job, to find the candidates, to go through the process, we're talking not just hours but weeks, months of time where potentially, as you're saying, you're getting no return. So when we've got the whole team pulling in the same direction and working purely on quality, we know that every hour is spent is going to give us a return for that hour, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And it's really impacted the way we work the roles, and the buy-in that we've had from clients by being able to sort of put our time into it and have that, the GP return is really impacted. And speaking to the way we now speak to clients differently to the way we were before.
Right. Right, interesting. So let's talk numbers and wins then, because you said that, GP has turned around. What results have you seen since implementing the changes?
Obviously, the GP has increased, which is what we wanted, but also our fees have increased.
Right.
I'm more confident in going out and asking for exclusivity, higher fees. And I would say I've realised that working better roles is then obviously less work for us.
Yes.
So when we go out, and I'd rather get a role on at 17-20% than a 10% role, where is my time best placed?
And what kind of percentage of fee increase are you seeing?
Before we were looking at 10% roles, and when I broke it down with Jane, and we said, you're either going in at your 10% or your 17%. You could be filling a 30k role at $3,000 for 10%. If you increase that up, you're looking at a $4,500 average placement fee. Just by that slight increase in that fee, and having the confidence in myself to be able to go out and quote that, where we've increased our average placement fee.
Excellent. And GP, how much is that up by? What's the difference?
GP, well, we hit a budget for the first quarter, which was great. So that's gone up. We were having on average a month, we were doing about $8,000 ahead, and that has now gone up to about 12k ahead. So it has increased massively. And the workload is better. The work balance is a lot better because we're not putting in all that time into sourcing lower grade jobs anymore.
Exactly. And as you say, then, the confidence to say no, that better qualification, isn't it? And the quality over quantity, less is more, working smarter, not harder. And you also mentioned, I think, from a candidate perspective, it's worked on the client side, but also you've seen positives from the candidate perspective as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, we would never have asked for exclusivity on candidates before. Never. That's something that we would never have done. We wouldn't have had the confidence to do. But now having them come in, meeting them face to face, building those relationships, and it's that journey with the candidate that we're now having, rather than, sending their CV, hoping they get a job, and that's it, goodbye sort of thing if they didn't get the role. But whereas now we're actually speccing them out, we're having that journey with them where we're supporting them more than just on one opportunity, and it will come back round in time because we've got that relationship with them, and hopefully when they go to look for another role or the recommendations come in, they will come back to us because it's about building a relationship.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's what you said earlier about that consultancy, isn't it? It's a true trusted advisor or consultant versus a recruitment delivery or
that's what we've got to remember. We're not just here as order takers. We're here to consult and give our advice, because we are experts in what we do.
Yeah, brilliant. And it's that shift from being everything to everyone, instead focusing on what truly matters is massive in a business, because as you say, you off the back of that you only see wins and wins and wins.
Yeah.
So beyond the business, how has this affected your personal life for you?
I'm a lot less stressed, a lot less pressure. I'm having a work-life balance again, which has been really important. I was taking my day home with me, finding where I was carrying a lot of the GP. I was trying to support the team, bill in the evenings, source candidates, still do the BD as well. And it was getting me down as an individual. And there are times when I'm not the sort of person that thought, I don't know if I could do this, but I was getting to the point where I thought, I don't know if I can do this anymore. Whereas now, at 5 o'clock, not every day, we know what recruitment world is like, but I shut my laptop on at 5 o'clock every day, and I get to go home and I leave it at work. Whereas before that wasn't the case. And also now the team, I feel confident in the team that if I'm not here and I've got to have a day off, I'm on holiday, that they've got the process in place that they can deliver without me being there, having it all in my head. We've actually now got structure in place.
That's huge. That difference between, as you say, being that linchpin that if you take you away, everything falls down, to actually being able to properly lead. I mean, that's what leadership is about. To be able to walk away from the desk and the business and it's still work in
going on holiday and having my phone and being like, with the work phone, and now it's like luckily don't have the work phone anymore, only on call, because the girls now do it. But it's being able to have that ability you need that time to reset and recharge. Yeah. And otherwise it bogs you down. And I really realized that within this program that we need to sort of have that time.
I love that. It's not just about better billings, it's about a better living for you as well.
Yeah. And it sets me up as well. I'm better when I am in work because it's not constantly work.
Yes. As you say, everything needs the balance. We were talking about it today, actually, one of the live calls in the program. Everyone needs balance. It's like if you're going to do, I don't know, high intensity workout, you need recovery.
Yeah.
You have to have that balance between, if you're going to sustain something over a period of time. And actually, as you will have definitely learned being on the program, consistency trumps intensity.
Yeah.
People that build the best businesses out there and the robust businesses and the business that can weather any storm is because they make the right steps. It's about consistency in action and ensuring that everything is maintained for the long term.
Yeah, and the team would definitely back me in saying that that is definitely shone through in how I am at work. So 100%.
Yeah, I get that. 100. Yeah, I get that. So before we wrap up, what would you say to somebody considering joining the Rocket program?
Oh, I have loved being on Rocket. Going back to Jane, obviously I would, she is like my employee or work colleague outside of work. And we have our coaching calls and it is like I'm having a counseling session sometimes, and we go in with structure, and sometimes that doesn't go to play because I come in with all these different ideas, and she's kept me on track on the process driven and how to better myself for the team. So Rocket for me has completely changed my career path, 100%. My CEO, Jace, would say what a changes it's done in me as well, and how the team can see how, I'm a different person at work. And it's really, really given me, the confidence and the ability to go out and succeed. So I would recommend it to anyone. And some of the team have been on, the other courses that they've done as well. And we recommend it across the board. So, yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you. And thank you for being so open and honest today as well, because your story really is a powerful reminder that, leadership's learned. You're not born a great leader.
Yeah.
With the right support, everything and anything is possible. And, it's actually about taking the action, and action precedes that. You get confidence. With confidence, you take more action. With more action, you get greater results. So that really is the winning formula. So, Lucy, thank you so much for your story today and your journey. So inspiring. And if you are listening and you are ready to transform your business like Lucy, and you want help to do that, I'm going to post in below this podcast. There'll be a link for you in which that you can get that whole framework that Lucy is talking about. If you would like access to how we help other recruitment businesses to scale to 7-8 figures and beyond, click on the link below, and we would love to support you too if you're curious. And of course, until next time, keep leading with those hearts and results. So really well done, Lucy, and thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you again soon on the podcast. So see you soon.